Lately, I've noticed something interesting. People in the AI space keep talking about the need for AI governance, and I get why that phrase doesn't land. If you've never heard about it, don't worry about it, but it is the talk of the town amongst people who are working with AI. And it sounds abstract and bureaucratic, like something meant for lawyers or tech committee. But here's the thing. This is not a technical issue. It's a human one. So if you just hang in here, I think you'll be able to feel how this issue impacts you. Because the truth is, most of us are already feeling it, even if we don't have a language for it yet. And in my Substack, I go more into how and why this is happening. But first, let me just translate what AI governance actually means. At its simplest, it's just a conversation about one question. When AI systems make decisions that affect people, who is actually responsible? That's it. That's the whole thing. Not the ethics frameworks, not the policies, not the white papers, just who owns the outcome when something goes wrong because of AI. Let me give you a real-life example. Say you apply for a loan or a job, or maybe your health insurance suddenly denies coverage. You get an automated message. After careful review, we're unable to approve your request at this time. Well, you want to know what happened. You call, what happened? Why was I denied? And no one can give you an explanation that you can understand. There's no human. There's no one you can talk to who actually made the decision. There's a sense of, well, it went into a black box and the algorithm decide. So even though you call customer support, the person on the phone, what happens? They say, I'm sorry, that decision was made by the system. Not me, not my manager, not even the company really. The system, the AI. And this is where the problem starts to show up. You might ask, okay, but who designed the system? And the answer is, well, that was a different team. In marketing, IT, whatever. So you ask, well, who decided to use it? And you might get an answer that says something like leadership. You might ask, well, who checks to see if the information on me is fair or accurate? Now, at this point, the rep probably has no idea, but if they did, they might direct you to compliance, another department. Then you might ask, well, who can I talk to override this? This is incorrect. And the rep might just, after a long pause, say, I'm not sure anyone can. So now you're stuck. Nothing illegal may have happened. Nothing malicious may have happened. But something deeply unsettling has. And you can feel it, even if you can't name it. Who was responsible for why my loan was denied or why my job offer, whatever? And no one can give you a clear answer. Because responsibility and the accountability is now shared across 5 different departments with no one group in charge. Was it compliance? Was it legal? Was it IT? Was it marketing? Was it a specific person? Was it who designed the AI algorithm? It may have been a little bit of all of them. But if that's the case, what do you do? Let me give you another example, this time from inside the workplace. Imagine that you work somewhere that uses software to track productivity or schedule shifts or performance. On paper, it's supposed to be objective, right? It's supposed to be efficient and fair. But one day something changes. Your schedule suddenly gets worse, or you're assigned fewer hours, or for some reason you're flagged as underperforming. You didn't get a warning. No manager pulled you aside. There was no conversation. So you ask your supervisor, what happened? And they say, the system flagged it. Now watch as accountability dissolves again. You ask, What did the system flag? And the response you get is, we don't really see the details. And then you ask, well, can it be wrong? Because I think it's wrong. And you get an answer of, possibly. And so you're asking, well, can you override it? And maybe you get this long pause and you get an answer of, not really, or I don't know how. So the question becomes, all right, who's responsible? Especially if it's wrong, right? HR didn't design it. Your manager didn't choose the AI model. They're just using it. IT just implemented what they were told to buy. Leadership approved it because it was the industry standard, so they did their due diligence. But now, suddenly, your livelihood is affected without a single human owning the whole decision. And this is where people start to feel quietly anxious at work. Not because a machine exists, but because there's no clear human to talk to anymore. You can't negotiate with the AI. You can't explain context to it in terms of maybe something happened in your life. You can't appeal to the judgment, or is there a way to do this? What's the process? Who do you talk to? Your boss may not even know. And so when something goes wrong, everyone involved can honestly say, this wasn't really my call. That's the problem. Here's another example that you can probably relate to, and it's social media content moderation. Think about this. You create a post and it disappears, and your account is flagged, or one of your videos is taken down, and you get a message saying it violated community guidelines. Well, which guideline? Which interpretation? Which human decided that my post violated community guidelines? So you appeal. You follow whatever their appeal process is, because most of these platforms have something. And you get another automated response. And it doesn't say anything. There's no villain. There's no malice. It's just a system acting without a face. So in all of these examples, the issue isn't technology. It's that decisions with real human impact are being made without a clear, accountable human in charge. That's what people feel. That's why trust erodes, even when everything is working. What people feel in these moments isn't just frustration. It's a loss of agency. It's a sense that decisions about lives are being made somewhere else by nobody in particular. And here's the key part. As I've said, when no one clearly owns a decision, the system feels unaccountable, even if everyone involved is well-intentioned. That's the human experience of this problem. Now you might ask, well, Adele, why didn't this used to be a big deal before AI? People have always been denied things. Well, in the past, even when organizations were messy, there were natural limits. Things moved slower, meaning decisions took time. Maybe they sat in a queue and that got to someone's desk, and humans were involved, and mistakes stayed local, that there was often perhaps even an audit trail. You could track when things went from this person to that group to this department, and you could do a forensic and compile a sense of what happened. AI changes all that because now decisions can happen instantly, at scale, automatically. They can quietly reshape outcomes for thousands or millions of people all at once. And so now when something breaks, it breaks fast without a clear owner. This is why the conversation around AI governance is so hot right now, and why I've been in so many conversations around this. Because it's a lot of pulling apart what needs to happen to establish the right level of accountability and ownership. I can't tell you how complex these conversations can get, And I'm all for it because I think this is where we need to go. And I'm talking to leaders who sometimes haven't even thought this far yet. And they're very glad that we are having these conversations. And sometimes people will say, well, we have ethics. We've got someone in charge of our ethics that's supposed to keep an eye out for us on this. Well, here's why the ethics talk alone hasn't fixed this. Because I've been curious. There have been people who are paid a lot of money, ethics experts who advise companies on ethics frameworks and the legalities. It's all very important, very good stuff. But it can't be confused. Yes, there are ethics teams and people are thinking about this. But here's the difference. Ethics helps us talk about what should matter, which is really important. Accountability is about who actually has the power to stop, change, or reverse a system. And most ethics teams, they don't control whether a system launches or doesn't launch. They don't have the authority to slow it down. They also don't own the results when a system has caused harm. They don't own the consequence. Their job is to raise concerns. They can offer guidance, but they don't usually have the authority to say, this stops here. So this is the quiet truth most people sense right now, that we're living inside right now this interesting, strange gap where systems are making more decisions faster than ever before. But responsibility is becoming harder to locate because AI is making a lot of decisions. So if the AI did that, who is actually responsible? And people feel that. So even if you've never heard of the term AI governance in your life, this is something that's going to impact everyone. You can feel it, for example, if something happens and no one can explain to you why something happened. Or maybe you're wanting to appeal something and you appeal and it goes nowhere. You never hear back. Or maybe someone tells you that they don't have the authority to override an automated outcome, that it's out of their hands, that accountability dissolves into this process. The accountability and responsibility is diluted. So for the leaders listening, and I know some of you are, this is not about blame. It's about structural mismatch. Our organizations were built for a world where decisions moved at human speed, but AI systems don't. Until someone is clearly empowered to own AI-driven decisions and not just advise on them or not just document on them, but take responsibility for them, that someone's job is responsible, this feeling of instability will keep growing. So for everyday people, just know that when systems act faster than humans can respond and no one's clearly accountable, this is why trust erodes, even if no one meant harm. It's not like someone was maliciously trying to do something to you. And I think that's the frustration. It used to be you could go after somebody or confront them, but you can't now. This is what people are experiencing. It's not so much I'm scared of the AI or I'm confused about the technology, but there's a sense that no one is really in charge anymore. So in closing, it's not that I have a solution to this, but I'm in deep conversations around this. And I have some thoughts that I'm going to share on my Substack, because otherwise this would be way too long, of what's needed. I don't think most people want less technology. I think they want to know who is responsible when technology makes decisions about their lives. That question is simple, and the fact that it's so hard to answer right now, that tells us something important about the moment we're in. Thanks for listening. If this has been useful to you, let me know. I'd love your comments. It tells me what more you want me to delve into. Share this with someone who might find it enjoyable. And tune into my Substack for more in-depth around this issue. Thanks.